Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new 2024 LEGO Rocket Raccoon figure. I found this early at Walmart, so we're going to be taking an early look at this set coming out on January 1st, which comes with a buildable version of Rocket Raccoon as well as a minifigure of Baby Groot. Now this is a really cool looking figure, albeit a bit of a controversial one because some people think it goes a little too far into the uncanny valley, others feel like the head is just perfect, and we're going to be taking a detailed look in this review right now. LEGO has done a ton of buildable Marvel figures over the years, and particularly over the last 2 years, but this is the first time we are getting Rocket Raccoon as a full-on buildable character, and it is a really fully detailed and posable model, so let's jump into it right now. Okay, so this is set number 76282 Rocket and Baby Groot, which retails for $60 or 60 euros, and comes with 566 pieces, making it actually pretty good value, especially for LEGO Marvel sets. It comes with a scaled up version of Rocket that is pretty much fully posable, as well as a minifigure version of Baby Groot for the first time, which I think makes sense to start off the review on. Now, obviously, in the past, we've gotten Baby Groot as his own special mold, but given that the scale of this is scaled up, they gave us Baby Groot as a minifigure, and this is so adorable. I love they actually rendered him as a minifigure itself, and you can kind of imagine that this could be a child Groot in between the Baby Groot and Teen Groot phases, perhaps in between the movies if you wanted to scale next to the minifigures themselves. There are no new molds, the headpiece is just the Teen Groot / Adult Groot headpiece they've been using for a while, but it is just an adorable little minifigure character, and I'm really happy they were able to give us this as an actual minifigure. Now, moving on to Rocket himself, this is a pretty controversial model. Now, I've honestly seen a lot of comments online about how it looks creepy or uncanny, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't really see that. I actually think this is a pretty nicely sculpted rendition, and yeah, I bought the set myself, my opinions are not biased here, I genuinely just think that they did a pretty decent job of rendering the face, especially by using just standard LEGO bricks. Maybe the eyes are a little bit too big or uncanny, but I don't know. I don't really see it. I think this is a pretty good rendition of the character, and it just looks very lifelike and alive. I love how you can get it in all sorts of different poses. Admittedly, a lot of the buildable figures from Marvel are pretty hit or miss, especially depending on what type they are, but this one feels like a hit to me, and I'm really happy with the way they were able to make this happen. Now, Rocket Raccoon, we're going to start off with posability. You can move the tail up and down. Unfortunately, there's no friction in the tail, so it automatically just kind of always droops down. It's not that big of a deal, but just something I do want to point out. Otherwise, the legs can be moved back and forth. No knee joints, but you don't really need knee joints in something like this. The only minor downside is that the way that the feet are mounted does restrict the articulation back and forth. You can move them side to side a ton, but I really would have preferred you to be able to, at least, if you're going to restrict the foot articulation this much, maybe give us knees. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal, but just something I did want to point out. But you can still get this in a variety of different poses thanks to the toes. The toes are fully movable, so if you're really careful with it, you can actually get this in all sorts of different poses, which is really nice, and I like how you can even have them in a bit of a running pose, which you can see right here with just having the toes curled up like so. Now, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with the arms, and to be honest, the arms are my personal favorite part of being able to pose this figure because it just makes him feel so expressive and real. Here you can see he's kind of angling one gun upwards, or maybe he's about to shoot down the barrel of this one, so you can really get a nice look and feel for that pose right there. You can have him be firing both guns at the same time, like so, or having maybe both of them upwards, like this, and you can see it just feels very different. It feels like a character that is alive based on how you actually want to pose him, and it's really cool. I like how you can do that. Of course, the guns are removable. They just attach on via clips, so you can go ahead and take both of them off like so. And then you're just left with two different hands for Rocket himself. You can see they're using the new finger piece, which was introduced earlier this year in January for mechs and Ninjago stuff and Marvel stuff, which works out very well. And overall, I really like just how well you can pose this. Like, you can put his hands on his hips like that. It just feels really accurate in the way it's done. Of course, I do have to talk about the head, and I guess as a LEGO builder and someone who has started to dabble in building custom LEGO MOCs recently, I just want to say I can really appreciate the way the head is done, especially because of the shaping of the head overall. They are using what some of the designers at LEGO call the Unholy Abomination piece, aka the 1x1x half piece that's used as a studs on the side connector introduced in Speed Champions, which is a really bizarre and interesting piece, but it allows you to really be able to mount things at different angles. Look at the way the eyebrows are done. They are mounted at an angle as well as on the side, which is really nice. I love that you can actually achieve so many different connections and pieces with that. You've got a lot of new parts being used, or fairly new parts, like the 2021 slope elements. You've got the 2022 kind of half-curved element. All sorts of great new pieces, or relatively new pieces, being used in conjunction with each other to bring this figure to life. And that's something that I just find really impressive by how the head is sculpted overall. It even has a nice little kind of 3D shape to it. It isn't just 2D like a lot of the other buildable characters, and they're even recoloring the Donkey Kong leaf elements in brown for the ears, which I think are totally perfect for a character like this. Now, overall, one thing that I do want to say about this figure in comparison with some of the other Marvel figures, oh yeah, you have waist articulation as well, is that I'm really impressed by how they even were able to mount the arms. One of the issues with a lot of the other Marvel figures is that the arms are usually mounted a little bit too low in the torso, and while that is sort of the case here, they make up for it by having these large wheel arch elements being used as shoulder pads, which look really good. They feel very accurate to the character itself, and I just think they're a great inclusion to factor into the set itself. Overall, I have very few complaints about this. For the price of $60, you get a lot of nice pieces for building, you get a really posable character that feels very alive when you move him around. This was actually designed by the designer of the UCS Hulkbuster, so it's really cool to see him really be able to kind of come into a model like this and pull it off fantastically at a great scale, which I'm really impressed by. So overall, I really like this. I got a chance to see this model a little bit early during fan media days earlier in September, and when I saw it then, it was really cool. I got to play around with it very, very briefly, but obviously the focus was on the Avengers Tower. But this is really solid. I don't know. I just really like the way it's accomplished. I think $60 is pretty fair for a figure like this, especially considering the recolors and the pieces that went into it, and I have very few complaints other than a little bit in terms of posability here. I'm a Bionicle fan, so I'm really used to being able to fully pose up LEGO models, and while I'm not expecting that level of articulation, the legs are pretty fixed, and there's not much you can do about it. Still, it's a really nice addition to the buildable LEGO Marvel figures. I definitely think this is going to look really nice next to the buildable Baby Groot, and yeah, for $60, I think it's not bad. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this model. Thanks for watching the review, and let me know in the comments what you think of this. Do you agree or disagree? I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree because I've seen people online really not liking the head, which is kind of weird to me because I think the head is really good. But, you know, it's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours, so do let me know down in the comments what do you think of the buildable Rocket Raccoon set, and I'll see you later. Alright, and with that, we have summed up this 2024 LEGO set review. Thank you so much for tuning into Duckbricks. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming away very soon. And let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of the set? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And did you agree or disagree with my thoughts? Thanks, and bye for now.